Can parents be held responsible when their child commits a mass shooting? In this particular case, the teenage shooter has already been convicted. But as William Brangham reports, officials are also seeking to prosecute his parents in a case that could break new legal ground.
The second witness on day one was the assistant principal, Christy Gibson Marshall.
I'm not sure what's happening, but kids are running in the hallway, which is very odd, and look like they're trying to leave the building. I'm supposed to lock down.
Did you?
No.
What did you do?
I went to check the hallways to make sure people were okay.
When you first started to check the hallways, did you see anybody?
The hallways cleared so fast. When I made the turn down the 400 hallway, I ran into a teacher who was locking his door. And then a student came up who was running late. He asked if it was a drill. I let him know that it didn't matter if it was a drill or not. Just, you got to take cover, get in there. And then I proceeded down the hallway. I was the only one in the hallway at that point.
Did you hear anything?
First, I smelled something. I smelled what I thought was cap gun. Later, figured out was gunpowder. And then I heard two gunshots.
So you were continuing to walk down that hallway, the 400 hallway, towards the 200 hallway. That's in yellow highlight.
Yes, that's where I heard the gunshots. I was going that direction.
You were walking towards the gunshots.
Yep. Yes.
As you walked down the hallway, did you see anybody else?
No.
Tell me where you went.
When I got to the end of the hallway, I realized how dumb this is. I turned left to go towards where I heard the gunshots.
So this hallway.
And I went towards 225.
So you came down the 400 hallway and you turned left towards 225.
Yes.
Tell us what you saw when you made a left.
I saw a student laying on the ground.
Did you know who he was?
I didn't at that time, no. His face was covered. And then as I continued a couple of steps, I could see another student walking my direction. He had just dropped his arm was up and then he dropped his arm.
Did you recognize him?
Not at that point, no. He was too far away.
What did you do when you saw a student on the ground?
There was a garbage can between he and I, so I moved the garbage can out of the way and I put my foot near him and nudged him and told him to stay there.
Did he respond?
No.
Could you tell if he was injured at that point?
You could tell he was injured.
What happened next?
Ethan then came into closer view and I could tell it was Ethan.
He had been at the school where you were principal?
Yes.
Did you interact with him at all at Oxford High School?
Just normal, like how I interact with everybody. High fives, hugs, silly stuff that I do.
Okay.
I brought my elementary to the high school, so I just
Did you say anything to him?
When he got close enough to me that we were sharing the hallway, so he was kind of walking down the center and I was kind of over to the side, so we're probably 3 feet apart. I asked him if he's okay. It just didn't seem right that it would be him.
So I need to back up just a little bit. When you didn't know who it was at first, a student down the hallway, you said he had lowered his arm.
I knew it was a shooter when he was down the hallway.
Okay. Could you see if he was holding anything?
I could see a gun.
At that point, was he walking towards you or away from you?
He's walking towards me. It was when I realized it was Ethan that I didn't think he could possibly be the shooter is what happened. Like I know I said I knew it was a shooter down there because I could rationalize that is a gun. He is putting that gun down. He just shot something.
Okay. Now, I know this is difficult, but I need you to use your teacher voice and speak
Okay.
as loud as you can. You saw him coming towards you. How close, how far from him were you when you recognized who it was?
He was probably by the room 220 when I could tell who he was.
Okay.
And I was standing between 226 and that weight section there that, yeah. There's exit doors there.
Now, you said you said something to him?
Yeah, it seems so odd that it was him. So I said, buddy, are you okay? What's going on? And when he didn't respond to me and he looked away, that's when I knew it was him, that he was the shooter.
Did he point the gun at you?
He did not.
What did you do at that point?
I got on the walkie and I told my team that I have eyes on a shooter and I have a victim.
Now this hallway, 200 hallway, there's a curve to it.
Yes.
And he was walking, if you follow the mouse cursor here, he was walking down the 200 hallway towards 233 and 237,
Yeah, he was walking that direction.
that direction.
Yes.
Did you watch where he went?
No.
What did you do?
There was a student who was injured, so I went to him. I knew he needed me.
And I know you're aware of it, but there's been certain rulings by the court. So just in general terms, did you render aid to that student?
I did.
Could you tell if he was injured at that point?
Yes.
Did you recognize him?
Yeah, I knew it was another one of my students from Lakeville. Tate Near. It just took my breath away.
Were you were on the walkie-talkie, you said?
Yes. So I let them know I had eyes on the shooter and that I had a victim. Kurt News asked me where I was. It's probably the biggest hallway we have, and I said I was in the 200 hallway. Kurt let me know that that's a very big hallway and needed more direction. I don't know why I couldn't process the fact that, like, my exact location. I told him I was near the 400.
Okay. Did you stay with Tate until help arrived?
Yes.
Now, you have seen at least a portion of the Oxford High School surveillance video, is that right?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as People's 9. It's been admitted. It cannot be broadcast on the media.
All of it? I've never seen it, so you have to tell me.
The entire, this is a short clip of it. None of it can be broadcast.
Okay. You have, okay, so you guys are not video, okay. Everybody gets it?
Okay, Christy, tell us when we see you.
I am approaching right in the yellow jacket there, the gold jacket.
For the record, this is at 12:51 p.m. on November the 30th.
I forgot about, that's when he came by. He said, get the hell out of here. I don't know if you could see him running through
The
there.
first student?
And you see more students running. These kids are kind of laughing, and then you'll see me stopping. There we go. There's my walkie.
You're walking down the
And
middle
I'm
hallway there?
walking towards the direction that the kids told me. They clear the hallways very, very, very fast.
That's you at the top of the screen?
Yes, I didn't realize that we passed there. This is where the teacher came out. I'm checking another classroom to make sure they were okay.
Here's somebody in the
And then I'm
court
continuing
crying.
on.
In the gallery. You have to relive all this over 3 times now.
This is where I'm saying,
Well, this is the second.
that's when I stepped aside, that's when I said I had eyes on the shooter, because he flinched a little bit, or at least my perception that he did. This is where I moved the garbage can. That's tape. When I'm talking on the walkie, I try to step back a little bit because I think it threw Ethan off a little. And so there he is coming up to me. And I start talking to him here. And I'm letting them know that I have a victim and I have a shooter. I'm asking him questions. And I turned my back on him and I came back to Tate because I didn't know it was Tate then. And then that's what right there is when I know it's Tate.
This is after the police arrive on scene, we've cut portions of it.
Yeah. So police arrived on scene and they were trying to figure out his name.
The shooter's name?
Yes. And so I left Tate to go tell them who it was. And then I went right back to Tate. I did not want to be away from Tate. I was telling Ken, his name's Ethan.
Thank you for your statement.
We're going to head across, they can resume the live stream, right? So,
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, is the prosecution with us?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't think straight.
oh, yeah, I think he said that he's.
Yes.
Okay. I have no questions for you, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can this witness be excused from it?
Thank you.
It looks like they're going to ignore all of the witnesses that were on the scene of when it all happened, and they're going to focus strictly in. Oh, she's upset. They're going to focus strictly in on their parenting and all the items around that and what they did. Wasn't her defense attorney, the one in purple, did she just have a baby this past year? Anybody know? It seems like she was pregnant at one point. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
All right. Thank you.
That was clever of her attorney, because if you think about it, she was taking a really bad moment. I mean, they were just like, everybody was crying. So I wonder if the next witness is going to be a totally different type of witness, and that's why she did it. Hey, I'm starting to catch on to this attorney stuff, you guys. Not to say that I could be one, but I'm just starting to understand the strategy, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I just read her lips and she said something about conversations between somebody. So they must be talking about items that are not supposed to be brought into evidence. That is exactly what she was doing, because this is the office manager who deals with the firearm sales at the store where they purchased the first gun. This is Cammie back.
Is someone able to walk in and buy a firearm, or to buy a firearm and walk out with that gun purchase that day?
As long as they pass the background check,
As long as everything checks out?
yes.
Now, what happens if things don't check out, or if there's some kind of delay. Does that ever happen?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
So if a customer is delayed, we are giving them a Brady date, which is 5 days. Within those 5 days, the next check could come back as a perceived, or it could come back as a denied. After 5 days, if there's no response, then we are allowed to hand the firearm over to the customer.
Now, when the store you work at sells a firearm, do you also provide a ATF pamphlet on handgun safety?
Yes,
Is that with every handgun purchase?
with every handgun, yes.
Okay. And tell me about that pamphlet, please. What kind of information is contained in there?
It just states the do's and the don'ts, as far as, when you buy a firearm, child safety, how to lock it, just to pretty much keep your firearm safe and out of the hands of, anyone that doesn't need to have it.
Okay. Well, first of all, I should ask you, as office manager and someone who's been employed at the store for 4 years, every time a firearm is sold, is there a receipt kept?
Yes,
Okay. On November the 26th, 2021, did you sell a handgun to James Crumbley?
I did.
And was he there with somebody else during that purchase?
Yes, he was.
Okay. Was it an adult or was it a teenager?
Teenager.
Did you come to learn who that person was?
Later, yes.
Okay. And you came to learn that it was the defendant's 15-year-old son?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But you didn't know that at the time?
No, I did not.
Okay. Now, during the purchase between yourself and James Crumbley, did his son do anything?
Never.
Okay, so he was there present, but he didn't interact with you.
No.
And here's Exhibit 27, which is the actual pistol sales record. And again, purchase transfer date, June 17th of 21. So there's a delay in this purchase as well.
Yes.
And this description is, it's a 16 shot, barrel length is 3.8 inches.
Yes.
So it's bigger than the Derringer.
Yes.
Now moving on to Exhibit 28. This is from November the 26th of 21, the day we already spoke about. So this is a receipt, total $519.35. Again, James Robert Crumbley. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is the day you recall seeing somebody with him.
Yes.
His son.
Her testimony was mainly just describing the documents that they had from where James Crumbley had applied for and purchased the 2 different guns that he got there. And she does say that the first time he came in, that Ethan was with him. And she just kind of goes through the whole sales process of what they have to do to get a gun. I don't necessarily think that the prosecution's questions are going to be as good as the defense. So I'm going to move over to the defense questions. She looks like hell in a handbag.
We talked about Exhibit 25, the pistol sales record. And this was the pistol that was bought back in June of 2021. On this on this pistol sales record, James Crumbley is the person who purchased this pistol. Is that correct?
Yes.
Jennifer Crumbley's name does not appear anywhere on this pistol sales receipt, correct? I'm sorry?
No.
Thank you.
And now we see why they wanted to split the trials up.
All right, Exhibit 26 was admitted. This is a receipt from a Kel-Tec gun that was purchased, correct?
Yes.
And again, on this receipt, it indicates that James Robert Crumbley purchased the gun,
Yes.
and Jennifer Crumbley's name does not appear anywhere on that receipt.
No.
Point made. When I was watching this piece earlier, I was confused about why the prosecution wanted to get called up to the bench. And then this happened.
Your Honor, this court, upon the defense's request, instructed the prosecutors not to show emotion. You instructed the prosecutors to tell our witnesses not to show emotion. And you instructed us to let our victims know. I understand the ruling, Your Honor. I do. You're concerned about influence of the jury. I take no issue with it, but it was a difficult thing. It's difficult, and we're doing it. And then to have not just the defendant, her lawyer sit there sobbing so that
I did not sob.
I just want to finish, Your Honor. I just want to finish. I think if that is the instruction, we are trying really hard to respect the court's instruction because I understand the reason for it.
Okay, I didn't tell people not to show emotion. Some of that is involuntary. But there have been times in this courtroom during trials when people will show facial expressions or things like that, or make comments. I understand this is a very emotional situation for everyone here, right? If someone was audibly sobbing in the audience, I would hope that they would exit. And as you said, the reason for it. I didn't tell anybody not to show emotion. I guess some emotion is involuntary. So I guess I'm asking what you're asking of me.
I think it should apply to both sides.
Judge, first of all, I was not sobbing, and this is horrific.
I've never seen this before.
It's horrific. That's why we asked the court not to play it. This is horrific. I don't know how the prosecutor. She's watched it 100 times, and with these witnesses, it's horrific.
You had this video for over 2 years.
I don't know. I don't have this video. I have to go to their office to watch it.
You've seen it.
No, I haven't, because it's not necessary. It's not relevant to my client's case. We've already litigated this, but we're doing our best. We were not sobbing or making a scene in any way. All my eye makeup's still on. I checked my camera.
I'm not having.
I need to run to the bathroom. I need a break.
Okay, we're having a break. That's what we're doing. And we have to keep your voices down because
I'm sorry.
the walls are cardboard in here. So
I'm sorry.
okay, all right. Everyone here is human, right? Everyone here is human. I understand that. I'm striving really hard to give both sides a fair trial, and if people don't at least try to check themselves, to exit if it's that excruciating, which I know it is. I'm not a robot. I'm trying to keep myself from sobbing. I'll do it at 6 o'clock tonight, okay?
I appreciate that, Your Honor. That's all I'm asking.
Okay.
That's all I'm
Your Honor,
asking.
we don't have the option to leave the courtroom. We're trying our best. We're trying. I promise you, we're trying our best. Thank you.
Everybody.
Her attorney got a little pissy there. Her defense attorney. This may not be taken well, but I'm going to say it. I think her attorney recently had a baby. I'm not positive about that, but I thought I saw somewhere when they were doing some of these hearings earlier last year sometime, she looked preggo. And I'm not positive if I'm thinking of this, if it's a different trial I'm thinking of, but I don't know. If she did just have a baby, her emotions are going to be a little bit out there because that's just what happens. That's normal. But I don't know. I don't know if that's correct or not. If y'all know, let me know. Thank you guys for being today. Thank you all. Have a blessed day.